Because if you're here, chances are you've been living inside your head for far too long. Replaying the past, predicting the future, overanalyzing every little detail until your mind feels like a battlefield you can't escape. And you know exactly how exhausting that is. We think that thinking more will somehow protect us. But the brutal truth is this: an uncontrolled mind is the source of most of your suffering. Seneca warned us long ago, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. You're not hurting because of life itself. You're hurting because of the story your mind keeps telling you about life. And if you're finally ready to break that cycle, ready to step out of the noise in your head and return to the peace of the present moment, then this video is for you. Today we're going to walk through 7 Stoic principles that will help you stop living in your head and start living in peace again. 1. The Stoic truth about overthinking. Your mind creates most of your suffering. Overthinking doesn't introduce itself as a problem. It shows up quietly, disguised as caution, responsibility, or preparation. It convinces you that if you analyze just a little more, you'll finally feel safe. That if you replay the moment one more time, you'll find clarity. If you predict every possible outcome, nothing will catch you off guard. But the truth is the opposite. The more time you spend living inside your head, the further you drift from peace. Stoicism begins with a truth that is both brutal and freeing. Most of your suffering doesn't come from the world. It comes from the way your mind interprets the world. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And if you're honest, you'll see exactly how true that is in your own life. Think about how many times your mind has hurt you with things that never happened. You replay old conversations, convinced you said the wrong thing. You imagine worst-case scenarios even when nothing is wrong. You assume people judge you, even though they haven't said a word. Your mind creates storms that the real world never sent. This is why overthinking is so dangerous. Not because thoughts are harmful on their own, but because an undisciplined mind ties those thoughts to fear, shame, insecurity, and false meaning. Neutral moments become threats. Silence becomes rejection. Uncertainty becomes a disaster. Your mind starts writing stories faster than you can question them. For the Stoics, the mind is not a place to get lost in. It is a tool to be mastered. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Today I escaped anxiety." Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. That line reveals the core Stoic insight. Anxiety is not what happens to you, but what you do with what happens to you. Overthinking is simply a reaction, and reactions can be trained. 2 main patterns trap you inside your head. One is replaying the past, torturing yourself with moments you can't change. The other is pre-living the future, suffering in advance for things that haven't even occurred. Both steal your peace. Both disconnect you from the present moment, and both are illusions. The way out begins with awareness. When a thought appears, don't follow it blindly. Stop. Name it. Say to yourself, "This is just a thought, not a fact." That one moment of distance weakens the entire chain reaction. Once you see the story your mind is trying to build, you're no longer trapped inside it. Overthinking survives through momentum. If you slow it down, it loses its power. Peace doesn't come from having fewer thoughts. It comes from refusing to let every thought become a threat. When you stop feeding your fears, they stop growing. And this is the first great Stoic truth about overthinking. You are suffering far more from your mind than from your life. Once you understand that, you finally gain the power to stop hurting yourself with your own thoughts. That is where freedom begins. 2. Master the present moment, the only place. Peace actually exists. There is only one place in the entire universe where peace can exist, the present moment. Not the past you keep replaying, not the future you keep predicting, but this exact breath, this exact second, this slice of reality happening right now. And yet, the present is the place the overthinking mind avoids most. Overthinking pulls you out of the only place where life actually unfolds. You relive moments that are already gone or suffer over moments that haven't yet arrived. You engage in internal arguments that never took place, write mental scripts no one will ever read, and punish yourself for scenarios that exist only in your imagination. That's the tragedy of overthinking. Your body is here, but your mind is everywhere else. Stoicism teaches the opposite approach. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." A simple sentence, but one of the deepest pieces of wisdom ever written. When you look at your stress, your anxiety, your emotional storms, you'll notice almost all of them come from leaving the present moment. You worry about the email you haven't received. You imagine how someone might react. You replay the look someone gave you earlier. None of these things are happening right now. The present moment has one extraordinary characteristic: it is almost always manageable. The next 60 seconds rarely overwhelm you. What overwhelms you is everything your mind piles on top of those 60 seconds. Memories, predictions, assumptions, fears. When you strip away the mental noise, the present becomes simple again. Think of how you feel when you're driving home and suddenly realize you were lost in thought the entire time. You don't remember the road, the scenery, the wind, the engine. You were mentally somewhere else. That's how many people live their whole lives, half present, half distracted, half alive. Stoicism invites you back into your own existence. When you overthink, your breath becomes shallow, your muscles tighten, your senses dull. But when you return to the present, everything changes. You breathe deeper, you see more clearly, your shoulders soften, your mind stops racing because it's finally anchored in something real. The Stoics believed that mastery of life begins with mastery of the present moment. Action only happens here. Change only begins here. Peace only exists here. Worry is useless because it is always about something outside this moment, and therefore outside your control. So how do you return to the present? You use your senses. Bring your awareness out of your head and into your body. Notice what you see, hear, feel, or smell. Ask a simple question. What is happening right now? Not in your imagination, not in your fear, but in reality. The present moment is small, but it's powerful. Inside it, you're safe. Inside it, you're not being judged. Inside it, no disaster is occurring, and when thoughts try to drag you away again, gently bring yourself back, the same way you'd guide a child back onto the right path. Overthinking cannot survive in the present moment. It needs either the past or the future to exist. So every time you choose to return to now, you're choosing peace over illusion. You are reclaiming your life one breath at a time. 3. You don't control thoughts, but you control which ones you feed. One of the most liberating truths in Stoic philosophy is this: you are not responsible for the thoughts that appear in your mind, only for the ones you choose to entertain. Thoughts come and go like passing weather, but when you treat every thought as truth, you give each one the power to shape your emotions, your behavior, and eventually your entire life. Most people believe overthinking comes from thinking too much, but that's not accurate. Overthinking comes from believing too much. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every fear deserves your energy. Not every mental story deserves to be followed. Stoicism teaches that thoughts arise automatically. They come from habit, memory, instinct, emotion, or past conditioning. You cannot stop a thought from appearing any more than you can stop a cloud from forming in the sky. But you can choose whether to stare at that cloud, fear it, analyze it, and build a whole story around it, or simply let it drift away. Epictetus captured this perfectly when he said, "It's not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." A thought is harmless until you label it, feed it, and let it grow roots. Once you attach meaning to it, this thought must mean something about me. This is a sign. I need to fix this. You give it life. Overthinking is simply an untrained instinct to overfeed certain thoughts. Imagine your mind as a field. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds grow into strength, clarity, and peace. Others grow into fear, worry, and chaos. You don't always get to choose which seeds fall into your field, but you absolutely control which ones you water. Overthinkers water every seed, especially the poisonous ones. A co-worker didn't reply. They must be upset with me. Someone looked away. I said something wrong. You made a small mistake. Everything will fall apart. These thoughts arise automatically, but the suffering begins when you start feeding them with extra stories, assumptions, and what-ifs. The Stoic practice is simple but powerful. Pause. Label the thought and refuse to add extra meaning. When a negative thought appears, say to yourself, "This is just a thought, not a fact." That one sentence breaks the spell. It puts distance between you and the story your mind is trying to tell. Suddenly, the thought loses its authority. It becomes something you observe instead of something you obey. Overthinking thrives on panic, urgency, and emotional reaction. But when you slow down and analyze the thought with clarity, it loses its power. You can ask, "Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this within my control?" Most thoughts will crumble under those three questions. You may not be able to stop thoughts from arising. No human can. But you can become incredibly disciplined about how you respond to them. When you stop feeding your fears, they starve. When you stop reacting automatically, your mind becomes calmer. When you stop believing every thought, you take back command of your inner world. A quiet mind is not a mind without thoughts. It is a mind that has learned to stop nourishing the ones that cause harm. 4. Get out of your head. Through the body. The Stoic somatic method. When you live too much in your head, your mind becomes loud and your body becomes silent. You disconnect from the physical world and sink deeper into the world of thoughts, fears, and imagined scenarios. Overthinking doesn't just happen in the mind. It happens because the mind becomes isolated from the body. And when that connection breaks, anxiety grows. Stoicism understood something that modern psychology keeps rediscovering. The fastest way out of your head is through your body. The body is an anchor. It pulls you back into reality. It grounds you in the present moment. It interrupts the mental storm before it grows into something overwhelming. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to return to the body, to stay rooted in physical action rather than drifting into fantasy or fear. He knew that a grounded body stabilizes the mind, just as a firm foundation steadies a building. Think of what happens when you're caught in an overthinking spiral. Your breathing becomes shallow, your shoulders tense, your hands shake slightly, your heart beats faster. These are not mental symptoms, they are physical signals. Your body has been dragged into the storm your mind created. But the good news is this: if your mind can affect your body, then your body can also affect your mind. When you reconnect to your physical senses, the mind quiets down. When you breathe deeply, the nervous system calms. When you move your body, the mental fog begins to lift. This is why the Stoics valued physical discipline. It was never just about strength. It was about clarity. One of the simplest but most effective Stoic tools is intentional breathing. A mind racing at 100 miles per hour cannot survive a body breathing at a calm, steady rhythm. The moment you shift your breath, you shift your state. Try this pattern. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. A longer exhale signals safety to the brain. Within a minute or two, your thoughts slow down on their own. Another powerful method is cold exposure. The Stoics practiced forms of voluntary discomfort. Cold water, cold air, simple clothing. Not to punish themselves, but to train the mind to remain steady under stress. When cold water touches your skin, your mind's chatter shuts off instantly. Your awareness returns to your breath, your heartbeat, your body. You're no longer imagining disaster. You are fully present. Movement is another escape from overthinking. A short walk, especially outside, resets your sensory system. When your eyes focus on the environment around you instead of the images inside your head, the brain shifts from threat mode to exploration mode. Even 5 minutes of slow walking can interrupt an anxious spiral. This is the essence of the Stoic somatic method. If you cannot control the storm in your mind, move your body until the storm calms itself. Your body is not just a vessel. It is your ally. It is the doorway out of destructive thoughts and back into reality. When the mind becomes a maze, the body becomes the exit. When you return to your senses, you return to your life. 5. Stop replaying the past. Stop pre-living the future. Most people don't suffer from what is happening. They suffer from what has already happened or what they fear might happen next. Overthinking traps you in two mental prisons: the prison of replaying the past and the prison of pre-living the future. Both destroy your peace. Both disconnect you from reality. And both can only survive when you abandon the present moment. Let's start with the past. Replaying memories feels productive, as if analyzing the moment again and again will change something, fix something, or reveal something. But it doesn't. The past is immovable, unchangeable, sealed. Every second you spend replaying it is a second stolen from the life you could be living now. Stoicism reminds us, what is done is done. The only question left is how you will respond today. Yet the mind loves to drag you backward. It replays the mistake you made, the words you wish you said, the tone someone used, the look someone gave you. It replays your failures, your embarrassments, your regrets. It convinces you that if you analyze it one more time, you will finally feel better. But every replay deepens the wound. You are not healing. You are reopening the same cut over and over. Now consider the future. Pre-living disaster is one of the mind's cruelest tricks. You imagine worst-case scenarios that have no evidence. You build stories around events that have not happened. You let fear narrate your future as if it were fact. This drains your energy, your confidence, your hope. You begin suffering for what is not real. Seneca said, "He suffers more than is necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." In other words, the pain you feel isn't from the future. It is from your imagination of the future. Think about how many times you've lived through something terrible in your mind, only to realize none of it happened. You worried about a meeting and it went fine. You feared someone was upset and they weren't. You imagined a conversation that never took place. You predicted a failure that never arrived. Overthinking turns you into a time traveler, but not in a good way. You keep stepping into timelines that don't exist, punishing yourself with futures that may never come. The Stoics believed that the past and future are thieves. The past steals your peace. The future steals your courage. The only safe place is the present, because it is the only place you have influence. So how do you escape this double prison? You create a boundary in time. Permit yourself to stop carrying moments that are no longer yours. Permit yourself to stop suffering for moments that haven't arrived. Try this simple practice. If the thought is about the past, ask, "Can I change it?" If the answer is no, release it. If the thought is about the future, ask, "Is this happening right now?" If the answer is no, let it go. Every time you pull yourself out of yesterday and tomorrow, you reclaim a piece of your life. Peace doesn't come from fixing the past or controlling the future. Peace comes from refusing to let them own you. 6. Don't trust every thought. Question the story your mind tells you. Your mind is a storyteller, and it's skilled at creating narratives that feel true even when they're not. Overthinking intensifies this storytelling until you can no longer separate reality from imagination. You start believing every anxious thought, every fearful prediction, every internal criticism. But Stoicism teaches a liberating truth. Your thoughts are not facts. They are possibilities. And most possibilities are wrong. One of the greatest mistakes an overthinker makes is assuming that if a thought feels real, it must be real. But feelings are not evidence. Emotional intensity does not equal truth. A thought can feel terrifying, overwhelming, or convincing, and still be completely inaccurate. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology. They taught that human beings suffer because we never pause to question the stories our minds create. We let fear narrate our future, insecurity narrate our identity, and past wounds narrate our worth. Without awareness, those narratives shape our entire life. Think about the kinds of stories your mind creates. They're probably judging me. I'm not good enough. Something bad is going to happen. They must be upset with me. I'll fail if I try. None of these are facts. They are interpretations, spontaneous, emotional, biased interpretations. And yet you treat them as truths simply because they appeared in your mind. The Stoics refused to surrender to this mental illusion. They practiced a disciplined form of questioning. When a thought arose, they didn't react. They didn't believe it blindly. They didn't let their emotions run ahead of reality. Instead, they paused and asked, "Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this within my control?" These three questions act like a filter. Almost every anxious thought will collapse when you examine it through this lens. If a thought isn't based on truth, it loses its authority. If a thought isn't helpful, it doesn't deserve your energy. If a thought isn't within your control, it isn't your responsibility. By questioning a thought, you reclaim power over it. You stop being a participant in the story and become the observer. And when you're observing, your thoughts don't have the same emotional grip. You see them for what they are, temporary mental events, not reflections of reality. Imagine watching clouds drift across the sky. Some clouds are dark, some light, some thin, some heavy. But you never panic, cling to them, or assume they define the sky itself. Thoughts are the same. They pass, they change, they dissolve. The only time they trap you is when you chase them or mistake them for truth. When you develop the Stoic habit of questioning your thoughts, something profound happens. Your mind stops being a threat. It becomes a tool again. Something you use, not something that uses you. This is the heart of inner peace. Not the absence of thoughts, but the refusal to be ruled by them. When you stop trusting every story your mind tells, you stop suffering unnecessarily. You stop drowning in illusions. You begin living in clarity, strength, and truth. 7. Create peace. Intentionally, Stoic rituals to quiet the overthinking mind. Peace is not something you stumble into. It is not something that appears when life finally becomes easier. Peace is a practice, a discipline, a skill. It is something you build deliberately, the same way you build strength or resilience. The Stoics understood this deeply. A calm mind is not a gift. It is a daily construction. Overthinking grows strongest in the absence of structure. A day without intention becomes a day controlled by random thoughts, fears, impulses, and distractions. You wake up, check your phone, get lost in noise, and suddenly your mind is flooded with worries you didn't choose. If you don't direct your mind, The world will direct it for you. That's why the Stoics created rituals, simple, repeatable practices that anchor the mind and guide it toward clarity. These rituals were not spiritual ceremonies. They were mental exercises designed to strengthen attention, self-awareness, and emotional stability. One of the most powerful rituals is the morning grounding practice. Before facing the world, you pause, breathe, and remind yourself of what is truly within your control. Marcus Aurelius began each day by preparing his mind for challenges, reminding himself that the world may test him, but his response is his own. This practice protects you from being swept away by a reactive mind. Another essential ritual is journaling. Not the kind that demands poetry or perfection, but the kind that brings your thoughts into the light. When you write down what's bothering you, the fears become smaller, the problems become clearer, and the stories lose their grip. Journaling is how you separate facts from fiction. It is how you see the mind from the outside. Digital boundaries are another essential component of modern Stoicism. Overthinking often begins with overstimulation. Too much information, too many opinions, too much noise. Your mind becomes overloaded, and anxiety fills the space where silence used to live. Creating boundaries with your phone, such as delaying screen time in the morning or setting limits on social media, gives your mind space to breathe. In the evening, the Stoics practiced reflection. Seneca ended each day by reviewing his actions, asking what went well, what went wrong, and what could be improved. Not with judgment, but with clarity. This simple ritual turns mistakes into lessons and prevents you from carrying unnecessary mental weight into tomorrow. But the most powerful ritual of all is the one you can use anytime, the Stoic reset. A deep breath, a single pause, a moment to question the thought pulling you into fear, a conscious decision to return to the present. This reset takes seconds, but it interrupts hours of anxiety. Overthinking thrives in chaos. Peace thrives in routine. Every ritual you practice becomes a brick in the foundation of a calmer mind. And when you stack enough bricks, moment after moment, day after day, you build something unshakable. Peace does not arrive by accident. Peace arrives because you choose it, practice it, and protect it. When you finally stop living inside your mind, life becomes simple again. Not perfect, not painless, but simple, grounded, and real. The 7 Stoic principles you've just learned all point to one truth. Your peace does not depend on the world. It depends on how you interpret the world. You now understand that imagination can torture you, the present moment can free you, your body can anchor you, and your thoughts are not commands, but suggestions. You've learned that the past cannot be changed, the future cannot be predicted, and peace must be created through intention and discipline. Stoicism gives you back the power you forgot you had, the power to choose your response, to question your thoughts, to return to the present, to build a mind that serves you instead of hurting you. So choose one practice today, one breath, one ritual, one step back into your life. And remember, peace begins the moment you decide to stop suffering in your own mind.